Citizen TV, this is the Monday Report with Trevor Ombija.
That's absolutely right. Good evening. It's good to have you with us. We hope you had a fantastic weekend and your week has started off great. A lot is happening today. 2.4 million learners nationwide started their KPSEA and the KJSEA assessment across the nation. Minor hiccups here and there, but largely a fantastic start. We'll give you details of that in just a bit. Also, at the same time, it's almost a month since the disappearance or the abduction of Oyo and Njagi in Uganda. Uganda authorities say they don't have them. Kenyan authorities seem to be silent about it. Human rights activists are protesting this at the same time when the UN Rapporteur on Human Rights, Mary Lawler, sent an accusation that 2 of her letters have been ignored by the government. Will that attract sanctions? That's the reason why we're talking about the state of human rights here in Kenya. We're speaking to Irungu Houghton, is Executive Director, Amnesty International Kenya. Joshua Nyamori is an advocate of the High Court. And Neema Mutemi, Positive Youth Development Expert, will speak about the state of human rights in Kenya. And we'd like to hear from you at Trevor Ombija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Citizen Monday Report. But first, our top stories tonight. Smooth start despite isolated incidents. 2.4 million learners sit national exams as NEC rolls out personalized papers.
Wamechoma manyumba zote. Ili mambo gani? Kwani serikali haiko?
30 homes reduced to ashes in Rombo Land Rao. Residents left counting losses after a day of chaos and flame.
Na nimesema yule mtu anataka kulete kitanda kutoka ng'ambo, atalipa ushuru, atatoa jasho. Na kama hataki kununua kitanda imetengeneza Elbagon, alale chini.
Logging makes a comeback. President Ruto clears harvesting of mature trees in forests across the country. Search for Njagi and Oyo, mounting pressure on government to secure release of abducted Kenyan activists from Uganda. Thanks for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. I'm afraid I have some sad news here. 5 people were killed following a grisly accident along Keroka Masimba Road in Kisii, bringing the death toll to 17 over the last 72 hours alone. In the latest accident, the driver of the lorry carrying molasses lost control and veered off the road before ramming border operators. According to Kisii County Officer in charge of traffic enforcement, Richard Kipkemoi, scores were rushed to Keroka Sub-County Hospital for urgent medical attention. Rescue efforts are still ongoing as we speak at the scene, led by multi-agency team, and the bodies of the dead were taken to Keroka Sub-County Hospital morgue. Now this brings it to over 3,000, the number of people who have perished in road accidents in 2025. So the country's largest examination administration began today with 2.4 million learners in grade 6 and 9 beginning their respective assessments. The assessments mark the transition to junior and senior schools for the 2 sets of learners. The government says that it has secured the materials in this assessment and examination cycle. But as Brenda Wanga reports, some learners started the exercise late in the afternoon, while a couple have been locked out for failing to register.
As early as 6 a.m., exam managers were opening the carefully secured containers holding assessment material for distribution to centers where 5 different sets of learners were waiting to participate in this year's exams and assessments. 3.4 million learners have registered for the assessment and exams at primary, junior, high school, special needs and pre-vocational levels. 1.3 million of them are undertaking for the very first KJSEA in the country.
This growth reflects continued success of our efforts in expanding access, inclusivity and retention under the competency-based education framework.
We have 2.4 million spaces against 1.1 million learners. So we have prepared everything. We have prepared a digital system to ensure that there's smooth transition. And I want to assure all our learners that they will get a space in senior school.
The government maintaining that it has taken the necessary steps to ensure that integrity of exams is upheld through innovative methods and adequate deployment of manpower.
For the first time, NEC is piloting smart digital padlocks in 250 examination storage containers nationwide. These locks are linked to NEC Command Center, allowing real-time tracking of the exact time each container is opened and locked.
It wasn't smooth sailing for learners of Endikir School in Kajiado County, though, as the assessment kicked off. The learners, just like their counterparts across the country, had come ready for the task ahead, only to find missing exam materials for the KPSEA and KJSEA.
Mtihani yetu imechelewa, imekuja saa 8 kamili. Na sisi tulikuwa tunarajia watoto wetu waanze mtihani saa 2 kamili. Sasa hii katikati yote kuanzia saa 2 mpaka saa 8 mtihani yetu ilikuwa wapi?
Tunauliza serikali, kwani tutapata usaidizi aje? Juu ya watoto wamechelewa sana bila kufanya mtihani. Na mashule zote washafanya.
It wasn't until this afternoon that the first paper of the day was administered to the candidates with the promise that they will finish all the scheduled papers today and catch up with their peers on Tuesday. 4 learners in Kasarani, however, are not as lucky. They were students at Shining Hills in Njiru, Kasarani. The 2 boys and 2 girls failed to register for the grade 9 assessment in time.
Tukatoa 3,500. Tukagojea bado tu tunaenda shule tukimuuliza principal kwani kunaenda aje, anatuambia tu hapana, gojeni, nilikuwa nimeenda huko kwa county, kwa sub county, bado nitawapea ripoti. Mimi nikamwambia hapana, ikifika hapo bado ukienda huko unipigie simu venye uko na namba yangu, uniambie kama mtoto atafanya exam ama afanye.
Mimi alitutisha assessment number, tukampelekea, akaanza kusema assessment number zetu zimekataa. Na hizo assessment number ndo zilikuwa kwa nini? Kwa certificate ya grade 6. Mimi nasikia vibaya sana sababu zifanya mtihani.
The director of the institution, Hesbon Omweri, however, told Citizen TV on phone that the parents had failed to provide all the documentation for the learners after they joined his school. He says repeated efforts throughout the year to register the learners were not successful, a fact that was communicated to the parents.
Honestly, I have, even before I had 24, I registered them. I had grade 60, there was only 6 kids, I registered them.
Yes.
So I don't understand, Madam Prince, what is happening. I was told to represent that is 3,500 for under protest. When we went there, the guy who was the reception told us that it cannot work. Time is over.
Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Well, we certainly wish all the learners all the very best in their assessment. Now, away from that, 5 people have been injured and tens of the residents displaced following fresh clashes at Tambarare village in Kajiado County. The clashes were instigated by a land dispute as 2 warring communities differed over the use of a tract of land that lies on the border of Kajiado and Taita Taveta counties. Police, however, intensified patrols in the affected area to quell the simmering tension. Loro Tieno with the details.
Monday morning and a cloud of smoke rises from Temberare village. These amateur videos taken by the affected residents showing the extent of a long-standing land dispute. Two communities have been embroiled in a dispute over the use of an extensive tract of land, with one claiming it for agriculture and the other claiming it for settlement.
Nilikuwa kwangu nyumbani, vijana wakaja wakajiunga mahali ambapo ninakuaga kwa amani, maana tumeambiwa tukae na amani. Na wakaja wakachoma nyumba yangu yote na wanataka kuniua mimi, na wakachoma ya jirani. Mimi nikatoroka, na hii ni boma ya jirani, unaona hapa wamechoma. Na unakuta ya kwamba wamesema watahakikisha. Mimi nina title, nimekaa hapo kwa amani.
Serikali haiko. Wamechoma nyumba yetu. Wamechoma nyumba yetu hadi pikipiki.
In a report shared by Kajiado County Commander Alex Shikodi, 29 houses have so far been torched and 5 people are nursing injuries following the Monday ambush. Shikodi saying that the security teams from Kajiado and Taita Taveta counties have been deployed in order to restore calm in the troubled area.
Nasungumza nikisema ya kwamba serikali ije ileta amani, sisi hayo tu. Ningeomba serikali ije iingilie ndio tujue ni nani ana makosa.
Kwani serikali haiko? Serikali haiko.
Despite the deployment of security personnel, tensions still remain high in the area, with scores of affected residents expected to spend the night out in the cold as tents flee the area. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
6 Iranian nationals accused of drug trafficking will spend another night in custody before the court hears an application for further custodial orders. The 6 who were arrested with over 1,000 kgs of methamphetamine or meth were arraigned before the Shanzu law courts, but the case was adjourned until Tuesday after the prosecution raised concern over the interpreter's documentation and proficiency. Francis Utalaki has more.
The 6 suspects appeared before Shanzu Chief Magistrate Anthony Mushegi to answer 2 drug trafficking charges after they were arrested on Saturday with more than 1,000 kilograms of narcotics valued at 8.2 billion shillings.
Swear by Almighty God and before His courts and before the book.
The case was, however, postponed until on Tuesday after the prosecution questioned the interpreter's document and language proficiency used by the accused. In his ruling, Shanzu Chief Magistrate Anthony Mushegi directed the interpreter to present his travel documents before court on Tuesday.
Let us verify your documentation, and then tomorrow you come back. Please have all the documents that are required to be able to qualify you as a person who can be able to interpret for us.
Yes, ma'am.
The essence is to ensure that they are following the proceedings and that we are also understanding what it is that they are saying, so that there is no bias.
The 6 suspects, Jasem Nia, Nadim Jagdal, Imran Baloch, Hassan Baloch, Rahim Bakish, and Imyaz Daryai are to be locked up at Port Police Station. Investigators are seeking 30 days to detain the suspects pending probe. They further want the court to grant orders to the anti-narcotics unit to analyze 5 mobile phones and a satellite communication device recovered from the suspects. In the application, detectives argue that this will assist in establishing whether the armed suspects, both locally and internationally, linked to the drug syndicate. In his affidavit, the investigative officer Shadrach Kemei describes the 6 Iranian suspects as notorious international drug traffickers wanted in several countries believed to have been involved in narcotics smuggling for years before their arrest last week. Francis Mtulaki, Citizen TV, Mombasa.
Now, the Law Society of Kenya, Amnesty International and Vocal Africa tonight demanding immediate medical attention for activists Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo, who were abducted in Kampala, Uganda, and whose whereabouts have remained unknown for close to a month now. The organizations claim that the health of the 2 activists is deteriorating as a result of torture while in detention. The push to have the 2 released by their abductors comes even as a UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights defenders, Mary Lawler, raised complaints after Kenyan authorities failed to provide answers on human rights violations during the June 2025 protests. Gatete Njoroge has more.
Free Bob, free Nick. Free Bob, free Nick.
27 days and with a chilling silence from Uganda and Kenyan authorities, Law Society of Kenya, Amnesty International and Vocal Africa have continued with their push to have Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo released by their abductors. The organizations, through their sources in Uganda, say they have received credible information that Njagi and Oyo are in bad shape and need urgent medical attention.
Informal sources indicate that the two's health has begun to deteriorate, probably as a result of torture and inhuman treatment for more than 25 days in detention without access to consular, legal, or medical services.
While expressing their frustrations with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for inaction, since the two were taken in broad daylight, the group says they will not relent in their pursuit to pile pressure directly on President Yoweri Museveni, who has the final say after military and police denied holding the two.
Over the last 3 working days, 300 Kenyans have directly emailed President Yoweri Museveni. As the campaign continues to roll out internationally, we are calling on more Kenyans, East Africans, and people across the world to use the facility to demand the release and safe return of our fellow citizens.
The organizations are also planning to petition both the National Assembly and the Senate to intervene and ensure Njagi and Oyo are protected.
We are calling upon development partners of East Africa, that is IMF, World Bank, and even Africa Development Bank, to review their plans to fund some governments, especially Ugandan government.
The abductions in the region has caught the eye of United Nations. UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights defenders, Mary Lola, on her X page, raised concerns after Kenya failed to respond on questions relating to arrest, detention, deportation and prosecution of human rights defenders as part of a wider crackdown on peaceful protests in June 2025. Lola raised concerns over deportation of Martin Mavinjina, a Ugandan human rights defender, crackdown on media outlets reporting live the nationwide protests, and an attack at Kenya Human Rights Commission offices on July 6th, where scores were injured.
Free Bob, free Nick.
Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
We'll discuss that later on, but for now let's talk about a bit of politics. And the Orange Democratic Party has announced that it will stay in President William Ruto's broad-based government until 2027. The Central Committee of the opposition party, which held its first meeting since the death of its founder, late Raila Odinga, also formally installed Siaya Senator Oburu Oginga as its new party leader. Seth Olale followed the proceedings in Nairobi.
Come on this side, leader. I think here.
ODM's new party leader Oburu Oginga chaired his inaugural Central Committee meeting 9 days after being installed as the new party boss by the National Executive Committee. The 6-hour-long meeting, comprising of the party's top brass, culminated with a resolution that was read by the party's Secretary General Edwin Sifuna.
That we endorse Honorable Dr. Oburu Oginga as the new acting party leader and urge the party rank and file to accord him all the necessary support and cooperation to enable him guide the party through this difficult time.
The highest management organ of the party announcing that it will stay in President William Ruto's broad-based government until 2027.
We reiterate the commitment of the party to the broad-based government until 2027, a relationship guided by the 10-point agenda entered into for the sake of peace and stability of the country.
The opposition party denying claims of rifts within the party's hierarchy over its cooperation with President William Ruto's government.
We may not always speak the same language, but we certainly know how to avoid the pitfalls of division that may happen on our path.
ODM's Central Committee also resolving to, among others, hold memorial service for the late Raila Odinga in Magarini in Kilifi County, Homa Bay and Migori, as well as stage ODM's 20th anniversary celebrations on the 14th, 15th and 16th of November.
We believe that the best way for the national government to honor the late Raila Odinga is to release the money owed to the party so that our programs can run and the legacy of our leader can remain secure.
The Orange Democratic Movement leadership says that even as it maintains its cooperation with President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza alliance, it will still forge for the aspirations and dreams its immediate former party leader stood for. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Nairobi County.
Now, President William Ruto has lifted the ban on logging in all public forests across the country to allow for harvesting of mature trees. The move, Ruto says, will revive the timber industry, create jobs and end importation of furniture to boost local manufacturing. As Willie Lusige now reports, the president also announced plans to extend the Nairobi-Nakuru-Mau Summit Highway to Malaba under the public-private partnership.
After a 6-year ban, President William Ruto has directed the reopening of logging in public forests, marking a major policy shift in the government's forest management strategy. Addressing residents of Elbagon in Molo, President Ruto said the move is aimed at reviving the timber industry and creating jobs, especially in areas such as Mau Complex affected by the logging ban.
Tumetoa kandarasi ya wale sawmillers wanaweza kununua miti sasa kutoka misitu yetu. Wale watu wako na factory hapa Elbagon wanione kesho, ndio mimi ni wapange wapate miti.
Ruto emphasized that only mature trees will be cut down.
Sio miti ilikuwa inawapatia biashara, si ilikuwa inawapatia kazi. Kwa hivyo tupande miti, tusipande.
He said he has directed Trade Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui to end the importation of furniture and promote local manufacturing.
Ati mtu anaenda China, ati mtu anaenda Ulaya, ati anaenda kununua kitanda. Nimewaambia hiyo itakoma.
Ruto emphasizing that the new wood processing factories will be established across the country to fully utilize commercial trees and create jobs for the youth. The president also announced plans to extend Nairobi-Nakuru-Mau Summit Highway to western Kenya, including Kericho, Kisumu, Uasin Gishu and Busia, terming it key to improving trade and regional connectivity.
Hiyo barabara ya dualing tunaanzisha mwezi ujao. Na tunaanzisha mwezi ujao kwa sababu tumeweka mpango maalum ambayo inaleta private sector katika ujenzi wa barabara.
As debate continues over public-private partnership financing model, the president defended the approach as sustainable and cost-effective.
Kwa hivyo, we have to think outside the box if we have to build enough roads in the Republic of Kenya.
The president visited Kuresoi North for the Mau Forest Restoration Program and launched livelihood projects for communities living around the forest. He later commissioned the completed affordable housing project in Elbagon. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV.
Now, police in Kisumu have arrested one suspect and recovered one firearm suspected to have been used in a wave of robberies across the city. 21-year-old Kevin Oduor opened fire at a police officer on patrol, leading to the shootout, which led to his eventual arrest. And as Laura Otieno now reports, police are pursuing two other suspects who were in the company of the assailant.
7 a.m. Monday, and Nyamlori Market was abuzz. The usual quiet of the morning was disrupted at around 6 a.m. as police were doing patrols around the market. Traders here were baying for the blood of a suspect identified as 21-year-old Kevin Oduor.
Polisi alimwangalia tu hivi akaona kitu ingine kama bunduki kwa nguo ya huyo mjamaa. Enyewe alimuuliza, baadaye huyo mjamaa akaanza reaction, akatoa hiyo bunduki, akaanza kubishana na huyo mpaka wakapigana.
Apiko ingine ikakuja ikaingia ghafla. Huyu jamaa akapanda piko kufika kwa gate huko, akasuka kwa pika akatoa bunduki kumaliza huyu mtu ya piko. Hata saa hiyo ma security yetu hatukuwa zimeenda, zilikuwa tu wako.
Kisha ndio kidogo nikasikia mlio wa bunduki. Sasa nasema ni paruti ama, lakini hiyo ni mlio wa bunduki, hiyo si paruti. Ndio sababu yenye bado najuazia kujiuliza, ndio nikasikia mtu ameruka. Ni kijana mdogo tu, si mkubwa, akaruka na alikuwa na hiyo bunduki.
Oduor was, however, found hiding in a rooftop water tank after tying up a security guard. He had attempted to conceal the firearm, which was found wrapped in a white sheet.
We were able to conduct a thorough search of the premises, and we managed to recover an AK-47 assault rifle. We also managed to recover 5 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special and 1 spent cartridge.
The suspect has been detained at the Kisumu Central Police Station pending arraignment. As police continue with investigations which include nabbing 2 suspects that got away from the scene, members of the public have been urged to cooperate in order to restore security. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV, Kisumu.
All right, we're taking a quick break here on Monday Report. When we come back, we'll be discussing the state of human rights, but also we'll send in your best wishes for all the learners who are sitting the KPSEA and KJSEA examination. I see here from your mother and beloved aunties, this is a special best wishes to Tinashe Bonareri, Jaden Wanga, Ivrael, and Kyle Komu. They say all the best in your exams. They're the pioneers of KPSEA candidates. They call it assessments now. It's not exams, but that is the special wishes from your mom and auntie Tinashe Bonareri, Jaden Wanga, Ivrael, and Kyle Komu. Send in your best wishes so that we can wish some of these candidates and the learners as they sit the exams. 2.4 million of them doing the assessment now. You can send them through so that we wish them the best in the exams. And also, we'll be speaking about the state of human rights later on. All right, see you in just a bit. Welcome back. Now, an irate mob lynched a man in Machakos town in what authorities say was a retaliatory attack after he allegedly hacked a woman to death using a machete. The suspect allegedly trailed the young woman and assaulted her before hacking her to death in full glare of the public. An angry mob pursued the man, subjected him to mob justice before setting him ablaze. Police were called in and took the 2 bodies to Machakos County morgue. In a separate incident, a family in Maimahiu, that's in Nakuru, is struggling to come to terms with a bizarre incident where a father killed his 2 children after taking and then took his own life. The family says that the incident occurred in Narok South, where the man was staying with the children after they separated with the wife.
Kwa wanaume na walio kwenye ndoa na marafiki wanaozana, kama umeona ndoa ama urafiki uwezi, tafadhalini mwache mwenzako aende atafute maisha. Vifo kama hivi vya kukatana mapanga, vifo kama hivi vya kutakiana, vya kuombeana, kwetu hatujaona, hata kwa mila yetu sio kifo kizuri.
Kwa haraka watu wakakusanyika na wakamkamata muuaji mwenyewe. Muuaji hajajulikana mpaka sasa, tumjui. Tunadhania ni mwanafunzi. Katika hizi shule siko hapa, hizi colleges siko hapa Machakos. Msichana mwenyewe walikuwa, inasema rafiki yake ametueleza walikuwa wamepata mtoto pamoja. Kwa hivyo tunaamini ni love affair triangle ile ilisababisha haya.
Huyu mnaona hapa ni mtoto wa sister yangu, so huyu ni niece wangu. Siku ya mashujaa aliweza kunipigia simu kuniambia baba yao ameenda na watoto na hajawarudisha. Nikamwambia kama ameenda kuripoti asikuwe na wasiwasi, pengine atawarudisha asubuhi yeye alale.
Now, 5 Sabasaba protesters who were in remand for more than 100 days breathed a sigh of relief after Magistrates Court at Makadara Law Courts reviewed their bail terms downwards from 100,000 shillings to 30,000 shillings. The 5 were among 7 protesters who were arrested on July 7th during the Sabasaba protests and charged with offences of stealing goods worth over 3.5 million shillings, property belonging to China Energy Engineering Group. Law Society of Kenya and Amnesty International, who were in court in solidarity with the protesters, challenged the Director of Public Prosecution to drop the charges, as most of them are innocent and facing trumped-up charges.
$100 days of pre-trial detention is in itself punishment, and there is no need to proceed with any hearing of this matter, because the subjects who are in court today have already paid the ultimate price by staying, or rather being detained in various remand houses around Nairobi.
It is our view that these remain trumped-up charges, because as we have told the court, when some of these events were happening, there were very many video clips that were circulating, And one of the issues that you observe is that we are yet to come across people that were captured in videos on that particular day being arrested either as looters, as lawbreakers.
We still have 46 young Kenyans in Kirinyaga who are yet to get reasonable bail terms from the judiciary. And we are still going to push. We are going to continue working to ensure that all these young people are freed.
The construction of the Ngong Road Bridge near Junction Mall is ahead of schedule, with the Ministry of Roads now projecting that the works will be complete by July 2026, more than a year earlier than initially planned. At the same time, the Kenyatta Avenue Viaduct project, which had stalled for over 3 years, has now resumed thanks to the funds unlocked through the government's road securitization program. Both projects mark a major push by the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority, that is KURA, to decongest Nairobi and ease the traffic flow across the city. The 3 billion shilling project, fully funded by the government of Kenya, is expected to be complete by May 2027. Once finished, the viaduct will provide a seamless link to the Upper Hill area, ease congestion within the Nairobi Central Business District, and improve overall traffic circulation. KURA Director General Engineer Silas Kinoti says that the project is funded by the Spanish government through a concessional loan repayable over a period of 55 years.
We are targeting almost over 400 junctions in Nairobi. We want Nairobi traffic to move efficiently. If you go at around City Cabanas, used to be called City Cabanas, we are putting a state-of-the-art traffic management center. And the works have actually started, the conditions of the ground. After that, then you will make sure that all the junctions within other areas of Nairobi, we put cameras to count traffic, cameras to monitor traffic, and then we are monitoring everything at the traffic management center.
End of this year, what we want to do is just to lift up the steel structure, the modules that are already pre-assembled at the ground level. We are going to lift them up with big crawler cranes. And then after that, what we are going to do is to do the concrete of the deck.
Jipange na Viusasa Roadshow was in Embu for the second day, with hundreds of enthusiastic fans braving the rains to participate. The caravan sneaked through Embu and its environs, its stopovers at Murara, Shuriri, Kiritiri, Runyenjes, Kirimu, and Embu Town. Muga, Wimwaro, and Inoro listeners had the opportunity to meet their favorite presenters as they were treated to thrilling performances by Joyce Wamama, Sharon Mtoto Wamama, among others. The roadshow is used to amplify the Jipange na Viusasa message and encourage Kenyans to subscribe to Viusasa for as low as 50 shillings and stand a chance to win the grand prize of 2 million shillings.
It's our day 2. It's been very fantastic for us. Tumeshukuru sana mafanzo wametokezea, wamekuja in huge numbers. Tunaendelea tukiwapea good information ya Jipange na Viusasa kwa sababu tuko na winners wengi sana. Jana tulikuwa Ishiara na tulikuwa hapa na mshindi alikuwa amejishindia 50,000 Kenyan shillings. Ni kumaanisha wanaendelea kusubscribe kupata points ndio endelee kujishindia.
As we continue coming to the town closest to you, we encourage you to continue going on Viusasa, subscribing and standing a chance to win. With as little as 50 shillings, you'll get to consume all the content on Viusasa.
Watu wa Muraro, Embu County, tuko hapa kwenu siku ya leo na tumewaletea ujumbe kutoka Jipange na Viusasa kwamba kuna shilingi milioni 2 za kushindaniwa, shilingi 1,500 na shilingi 50,000. Utakalofanya sasa hivi, chukua simu yako, nenda kwenye paybill, piga 724177, account name, weka jina lako na uanze kucheza. Cheza mara nyingi zaidi na upate nafasi za kujishindia 2 million.
All right, let's take another quick break here on the Monday Report. We're back with the business news in just a short while. But I see here, I'm wishing success to my firstborn daughter, Yvonne Chepkemoy, sitting at Kepse at Our Lady of Assumption in Eldoret. This is from Silas Kiptois, for her father, all the way from South Sudan. Thank you, Silas. Also see here, Trevor, this is Karen Olwen, wishing success to St. Bakita School, Brigel Adui, and Light Academy, Branel Adui. All the best to them as they sit their assessment. All right, see you in just a short while. business, 80% of Kenyans say their income has stagnated over the last 3 months. Well, time now for some business news. And nearly 8 in 10 Kenyans living in urban areas say that their income has either stagnated or declined this year, underscoring the strain many households face amid rising living costs and slow wage growth. This is according to the latest quarterly Investor Pulse report by ICA Lion Group. The survey, which tracked the spending habits of 1,000 urban consumers across Kenya, paints a complex picture. While the economy continues to show resilience at a macro level, everyday financial realities for many Kenyans remain challenging. Jimmy Mbogo has more.
In the report, about 50% of the respondents say their income has remained flat, while another 22% reported a decrease, with only 28% of those surveyed saying that they saw an increase in their income. According to the survey, most of the income gains came from formally employed individuals, while those in the informal sector reported decline.
The sentiments seem to indicate that the economy is still in a challenging situation because cost pressures are still sustained, and that's why they are forced to diversify into alternative sources of income to enable to maintain their standard of living.
The study found that consumer spending rose in the third quarter of 2025, reflecting higher prices and increased purchases. About 85% of the respondents said they spent more compared to the previous quarter, mainly on essentials.
Again, the largest proportion of spending went to food, clothing and shelter, as well as to an extent recreational spending. But what we noticed this time is that there was an improvement in the amount of the proportion of incomes allocated to savings and investments, and also to insurance. We noticed there was a slight uptick.
On the investment fronts, savings group and microfinance networks continue to dominate. However, SACCOs, Chama and banks remain the most attractive options for small investors, with participation rising modestly in the third quarter.
Despite the emergence of new kind of investment avenues such as unit trusts and treasury bills and bonds, most Kenyans seem to be pretty content keeping their money in the tried and the true sources of banks, SACCOs and Chamas.
According to Gerard Gondo, ICA Lion Chief Investment Officer, although the Kenyan economy continues to demonstrate resilience, with inflation remaining largely contained and interest rates gradually normalizing, debt remains a major concern.
Our fiscal ability, not only in Kenya, but in the rest of Africa, we must make sure that these borrowings that we are taking, not only from global markets, but the local economy, are being sourced and channeled into the productive sectors of the economy.
Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
NCBA Bank is ramping up the efforts to tap into Kenya's growing base of high net worth individuals through a fresh push on estate planning and intergenerational wealth transfer. The lenders hosted an estate succession forum in Nanyuki, bringing together affluent clients, legal experts and financial advisors to explore how families can preserve and transition wealth across generations. NCBA says that the initiative is part of its strategy to strengthen its platinum banking and retail wealth management offering by providing structured advisory services that go beyond traditional banking. In East Africa, experts say that only about 30% of family businesses successfully transition to the next generation, citing poor governance.
Meaning that they then leave those problems or those issues to be handled after their death. Now, what happens is after death, it is difficult to ascertain the wishes of a deceased person, meaning that we'd have to look through the person's friends or family members to ascertain their wishes. And also, we also have a problem where people are not sharing details about their wealth with the people who are most close to them, meaning that most of their assets are then surrendered to the state because they have become something we call unclaimed financial assets.
So what we try and do at NCBA is to make it very open for our clients that wealth is not only about creation. There's also preservation as well. There's protection, and that's why we brought in our insurance team so that they can be able to help our clients understand that beyond themselves, beyond their estate, you also need to protect the life of the principal and as well the transfer, because We believe that once you've been able to create wealth, and you've been able to accumulate as much as possible, whilst we can be able to partner with you in the journey of preservation and multiplying, it will also be beneficial for us to think beyond banking and say, how then can we be able to make sure that your wealth is intergenerational and actually outlives you as the principal of the family?
So Sandstorm Kenya started off as a tent maker, making safari tents targeting camping and adventure enthusiasts. Over 2 decades now, Sandstorm has moved into making high-end bags from locally obtained leather and canvas. Edward Chwea paid them a visit at the Opportunity Factory in Karen and tells us their story in our Made in Kenya segment.
On the machine, joining different pieces and sewing them. Metrin Midesha has been doing this for the last 10 years here at Sandstorm Kenya.
Mimi ni fundi, nashona na kutengeneza bags. But initially, nilikuja hapa kama preparation team member, and right now, niko fundi sasa.
She is one of the hundreds of employees producing Sandstorm Kenya's acclaimed leather products. Ashley Jechumba, the marketing manager here, says they started by making products from the waste generated when making safari tents, and that inspired them to change strategy.
We needed to do something with the leftovers, so the directors and the team, they decided to start making bags. That's how Sandstorm came about. They started with travel bags, and then they went all the way to now we have a travel collection, we have handbags, we have kids backpacks, we have backpacks for women and men. We have a wide range of products.
Methusela Moshi, the head of operations, says Sandstorm Kenya sources its leather and canvas from local tanneries and cloth mills.
Our main materials that we use are leather and canvas. Leather, we source it from Kenya locally, from Alfarama Limited, and the canvas we source it from Thika Cloth Mill. And the brass, we are using recycled brass from the communities in Rongai. They have to go through quality process, then they'll be taken through a cutting process whereby leather is being cut by hand and canvas is being cut by machine. And then from there, we'll do another quality process, which will take it through now the preparation stage, whereby it's assembling before going to the sewing.
Ashley says they are keen on quality and give a lifetime warranty on their products, which includes free repairs.
The products are made to last. We've had people who've come here with bags that they bought 22 years ago when we were starting, or 23 years ago, and they had quality or something happened to the seams and all, and we repair it for free and our lifetime guarantee. Our demographics are local and global, because we also ship worldwide.
You have quite a number of employees in your factory here in Karen. What aspects do you look at when you onboard them?
We try to onboard people who are passionate about Kenyan craft. We employ people from Kibera under the Avido Foundation. So Avido partners with us. He gives us people who are differently able, like the deaf.
Nimepata more experience. Nimekuwa exposed into life, making bags and all that. Naweza nikafanya bag from preparation until ifike quality.
Ashley says the future for Sandstorm Kenya is to keep innovating new products to meet the ever-changing customer needs.
There's a lot of new designs, new bags that people have been requesting. We have an open door policy. You can just walk in our factory and we'll give you a tour. Transparency. So we want to show you guys how the bags are made and all that, the process, the people that go into it, and more to come.
Edward Chwea, Made in Kenya, Citizen TV.
All right, that wraps up business. We're coming back with some sporting action in just a bit, but I see your best wishes keep coming. Tracy Waiderero from St. Clair Girls in Elbago, Nakuru County. Best wishes from your uncle, Robert. We also have Mesha Ochieng says, best wishes to my son, Emmanuel Johnson Ochieng. Dr. Isaac Hassan says, Trevor, I'm wishing my beautiful daughters, Yusra and Nawal, the very best of luck as they begin their exams. I'm so proud of their hard work, determination, and focus. May your effort be crowned with great success, confidence, and peace of mind. Go shine bright, my girls. Your future is as beautiful as your hearts. That is from one Dr. Isaac Hassan. Beautiful message. I will see you in just a bit. Time now for some sporting action. In the national women's football team, Harambee Starlets have concluded their final training session ahead of tomorrow's 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations return leg against the Gambia. The match will be staged in Senegal, with Kenya holding a 3-1 advantage from the first leg played last Friday at the Nyayo National Stadium right here in Nairobi. The Starlets now need just a draw of any kind to secure qualification to the continental showpiece set for Morocco next year. Head coach Beldin Odemba's charges are determined to seal a historic return to the tournament after a decade in the wilderness.
Na thank coach kwa kunipa hiyo opportunity. Juu ilikuwa first time yangu ya kwanza na akanipa hiyo chance na nikamwonyesha kwamba naweza, na tuko na psych na watu morale iko juu, na pia mimi naamini players tuko nao wanaenda kutupia 3 points na tunaenda qualify AFCON.
Naweza sema tumeconcentrate 100%. Tuliwin the other game 3-1 but tuja lose concentration. So in a new game still tuko na 90 minutes, so tuko very excited but tuko very focused.
Now, the CAF Confederation Cup debutants Nairobi United will on November 3rd, 2025 know their group stage opponents after eliminating Tunisia Giants Etoile du Sahel 7-6 on post-match penalties following a 2-2 aggregated draw. The Kenyan side has been placed in Pot 4 alongside Azam FC of Tanzania, Zesco United of Zambia, San Pedro of Ivory Coast, Olympique de Safe of Morocco, and Sigidad Black Stars of Tanzania. Now, Pot 1, meanwhile, features Zamalek SC of Egypt, Wydad of Morocco, and Algerian clubs CR Belouizdad and USIM Algiers. Pot 2 comprises Al Masr of Egypt, Stellenbosch FC of South Africa, Jolobi of Mali, and Amenima Union of DR Congo. Now, Team Kenya is ready to take part in the International Blind Sports Federation, that's IBSA, Powerlifting World Championships, a global event that brings together top visually impaired athletes from across the world. The highly anticipated competition will see Kenyan lifters battle for glory and national pride as they showcase their strength, determination, and resilience on the international stage. After weeks of intense preparation, the team remains confident of a strong performance and is eyeing podium finishes that will not only bring home medals but also raise Kenya's profile in the world of adaptive sports.
Hii timu ilianza kujitayarisha tangu mwanzo wa huu mwaka mpaka tukaandaa our national trials hapo Julai, na tukachagua wachezaji wetu wazuri. Nina imani ya kwamba kulingana na matayarisho ambayo tumejitayarisha, tuko imara na tuko tayari kwa ushindi.
Wapinzani wetu ni binadamu kama sisi, tofauti tu ni rangi, lakini sisi kama Afrika, kama wa Kenya, tunajua tuko na ile nguvu ambayo itatuwezesha kupata medali zaidi ambayo tulipata wakati uliopita.
Now, the upcoming double-header of the Sunshine Development Golf Tour East Africa Swing has received a shot in the arm after one of the partners injected 5 million Kenya shillings sponsorship for 2 back-to-back tournaments scheduled for November this year. The 2 events will be played over consecutive weeks, with the first held at the Vetlab Sports Club from November 2nd to 4th, followed by Limuru Country Club from November 9th to 11th, 2025. The events are expected to attract at least 100 golfers from East Africa and beyond, and will be played over 54 holes with a cut set for the top 30 and ties after round 2. Players will compete not only for a share of the 2 million shillings cash prize at each event, but also for the crucial global ranking points on the Sunshine Development Tour East Africa Swing, which counts towards progression into larger global tournaments. At the same time, Ulinzi Sharks assistant coach Nixon Oyaro believes they have what it takes to complete a three-peat in the Kenya Handball Federation Women's League this term. Now, this comes after a flying start to the season in which the reigning champions stunned Kenyatta University 32-22 in the league contest stage at the Nyayo National Stadium Ulinzi Handball Court. Now, Ulinzi Sharks, however, will be looking again toward off competition from bitter rivals Nairobi Water, who saw off varsity side KU 31-25 on Sunday. Ulinzi ended Nairobi Water's 10-year league dominance in 2023 and have won the league title twice, and Saturday's win was crucial to their title defense quest. The Soldiers are still banking on their last season squad.
Bao 10. Last season walitupiga na 12, so ni plus kwetu, at least they have come karibu nao kidogo.
Tunajua mechi zenye ziko mbele yetu ni ngumu, but tutajikakamua. Yeah. Na leo tunashukuru Mungu tumewin game ya kwanza, which is very important to us because we are champs.
Ile kitu pia tumeenda vizuri, manake mbele tulianza na mbao mingi. So kukava hiyo haingekuwa rahisi. Ndio pia imetuokoa. Defense ndio tulikuwa tukishughulikia sana. Tukiendelea tukishaona matimu vile zinacheza, from there ndo tutajua nini tunatrainia sasa.
All right, we're taking a quick break here from the Monday Report. When you come back, my guests are already in studio. We're discussing the state of human rights here in Kenya. But before we go, let me read some best wishes coming through from all the relatives of people who are sitting the KPSEA and KJSEA exams. All the best in your exams. Manasseh Mutangili of Moi Educational Center from Grandma. Thank you very much for that, Grandma. I wish my son Francis Musau Charles, sitting for his grade 9 KJSEA at St. Michael Boarding Primary School at Kitui, all the best in his exams. Jamkon Chalo, that's your dad. And also wishing Esther Ndungu all the best in her KPSEA exams at Kabiria Primary. We believe in you and are very confident that you will fare on well. From your sister Anne and Kevin. And I think there's the last one here from one Alphonse Were. Says, I take this opportunity to wish my daughter Lynn Angela all the best in the KPSEA exams and all the candidates of grade 6 and 9 at Joyce Hill School in Matungu, that's in Kakamega County. All right, we're back in just a short while.